clarify anything to anybody.
Ajay, VP here.
Yep.
Fantastic presentation. One question, why do you think there's a difference between Hinduism and the Vedanta? Or what is the difference in your mind?
So in my mind, so my candid view is that I don't know what Hinduism is, right? My image of Hinduism is merely what I read and hear around, and I think it has a lot of elements of Vedanta, and all of this is anecdotal. I mean, I have never read a book on Hinduism, right? Other than Shashi Tharoor's book, which is excellent, but you realize that it is all about Vedanta. It is nothing. I mean, I don't even know why we call it Hinduism in the first instance. But at the end of the day, it's the philosophy of Vedanta that kind of captures my imagination. Maybe I kind of understand a little more about Hinduism, but I'm certain about one thing, VP, that the current narrative around Hinduism is flawed.
Ajay, can you please stop sharing your screen and we can get everybody on the screen?
All right, give me a sec. All right, there you go.
And VP, just to add to that, I think religion came many hundreds, if not a couple of thousands of years after this philosophy was there, right? This was there as Sanatana Dharma much earlier. And then all the isms, the religions of the world came much, much later. And obviously probably took part of it, some part of these ideas, the ones that were probably more the ritualistic kind, and then ended up building upon that. That's my understanding.
Yeah, so I am myself confused, and that's why I asked the question, because I'm not sure if Vedanta is a part of Hinduism or Hinduism is a sort of followed from Vedanta.
I think it's a byproduct
but
of
Sadhvi ji, yeah, perhaps, and that's what I'm trying to understand myself. And Sadhvi ji was talking about that she has edited some 11 volumes book on Hinduism. So I was just curious that do I need to read that 11 volumes, or I can get a cliff notes in this session?
All right. So let's get to the next question. Maybe Ajay, I will ask you the second question, which I'm pretty curious about. So you said that you spent 1 year to get the theoretical construct, and then when the rubber hits the road, it could be multiple lifetimes. The question for you is it worth it?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm convinced that the thing about something which Swami Sarvapriyanandaji in one of the lectures said very, very eloquently is that whatever you do, you are further along in your journey, right? It's a long journey in some ways, and any steps that you can take in that direction gets you further along. So to your question, is it worth it? Absolutely. Do I think I will get there in this lifetime? I don't have any misgivings about it. I don't think so at some level, but I certainly feel that this is a journey worth moving forward on.
Thank you.
So Ajay, I have a question on your third bullet point on the last slide regarding several paths but one truth. And right now, there's also this belief that there's parallel universe, multiverse, and all that. Isn't it possible that there are multiple truth as well? Like anything, I mean, you look at something from your perspective, it's one truth. Someone else looking at the same thing, it's a different truth. But maybe by one truth, you can elaborate a little bit more. What does it really mean?
So the one truth, and again, this is from a Vedantic sort of thought process, Arun. The single truth, the ultimate truth, is consciousness, which is that one consciousness, the Brahman, the ultimate sort of reality, right? Now there are different, at least the way you look at the slide, I mean, there are different ways of getting there. Some think of it as Shiva, or somebody thinks of it as Jesus or Allah or whoever, right? But at the end of the day, because the conception of that ultimate reality is so abstract and complex, you can kind of get there through multiple ways. Some people would get there through bhakti, Some people will get there through karma yoga. Somebody would say, okay, Raja yoga is better, right? Or meditation is better. But all of these are just paths. But at the end of the day, your goal is to get to that ultimate goal, ultimate reality, which is kind of when you get moksha, right? Otherwise, you keep going through this life cycle of the karmic cycle of life and death. Uh, and so, yeah, I mean, there's no one way of doing it. It's just several paths to the same truth.
And if I can add there to Ajay, Arun, I think the question about multiverses and parallel universes and all that is all a mental construction. Okay, in reality, they're all projections of what Ajay was talking about as a consciousness. It's the consciousness that the very fact that we are just aware, irrespective of whether we are awake or dreaming or deep asleep. There is that entity that's always awareness, and that entity is the only truth, which is truth. The rest all is conceptions, mental conceptions, layered with a lot of quote unquote, as what they call it as ignorance that comes out as gross objects like this entire world, or even this the dreams, or even the dream state. Now, that reality manifesting in multiple forms, in some sense has been expressed in many movies, right? And Matrix is one of the great movies. You if you have not watched it, watch it again with this perspective and you'll get that.
So it's everything else Maya then, right? So
Yeah.
one truth, everything else is Maya.
That is correct. And all each one of us are doing is just interpreting it in our own ways and calling it as parallel universe, multi-universe, or green color, or a beautiful car, or a lousy street, or hunger. We call it by the multiple ways, but it's all our mental conceptions.
Yeah. Yeah, Ajay, I liked your slide on the Sattvic Bhojan. I wish instead of Chaturmasa, it was Baramasa.
Yeah, no, it's Chaturmasa, but a lot of us are kind of moving in that sort of Baramasa mode and trying to kind of.
In fact, what was interesting on that slide was, as we were growing up, our parents were only feeding that. Right? It's us who are feeding the wrong things to our kids. I guess we have to, go back to eating the basic food, the Sattvic food, and get away from all the junk food, which is the norm. Not the norm, but more easily available, more frequently consumed, and so on and so forth. So, and it used to be Baramasa when we were growing up, eating that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of value in it, Kanchi. I mean, it's something several of us have experienced, and I think if you look at some of the interviews that Rajesh did, I think it's been a truly eye-opening experience.
Yeah, good.
Hey, Ajay, if I may, real quick, it's a beautiful presentation, and I love the honesty with which you presented and where you're at. That itself, to me, showed that you've progressed so much in the last couple of years. I had one quick comment, and actually, let me just go to the question, right? There are several beautiful one-liners you had that you had picked up from different places, but I think I liked some of your own one-liners, which was, I picked up one of the early slides. It said, "I was a believer, but not sure what I believed in." I thought that was so honest. And I'm just wondering what you actually meant by that.
So a lot of people had asked me early on, in my growing up years, are you religious? And I said, yes. What do you believe in? I was like, I believe in something. I have no clue what that is. So it was all like a fuzzy sort of thing, right? I mean, I was being religious because my family was religious, right? Was I religious? I don't know. I was just following like some idea of religion, right? Or faith. So I believed in something. I had no idea what I believed in, to be honest. So now that I'm kind of going through this kind of structured sort of learning, and you realize that, it was all in space. I mean, it was just like a dream or a myth, right? In a way. And that was the honest truth. I mean, and deep within, I never sort of, I would like to go to the temple and sit down there, in Pilani, for example. I used to go to the temple sometimes, sit down, because I got peace there. But not because I believed in anything. I just went there and I did it. I didn't watch the Mahabharata because I couldn't relate to it. Right? I thought it was all like sort of some storytelling. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I only realize now that it is not mythology, it is itihasa.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I mean, to me, it was all like a figment of my imagination, if you will.
No, that's pretty cool, because it also takes me back to one of our earlier questions from one of our last presentations, right? He was like, hey, somebody, JK or someone said, you don't need a guru, but the guru is whatever, whenever that sudden realization happened to you, it's like, hey, and the structured learning was probably your sort of what you started on it.
No, totally. I mean, and it happened when it had to happen. So it was fantastic. I'm so happy that I'm here.
So, that's cool.
Friends, I hate to be a spoil sport in this party. I think we will have to, thank you, Ajay, and we probably will have to move on to the next presenter, because I already see we are running a little late on this. So thank you so much, Ajay. Great presentation. And with that, maybe we will